Let's talk about an issue that many people misunderstand today. Free speech. What does it mean? I get this question a lot. Does freedom of speech mean that you have a First Amendment right that allows you to say, hey, go rob that person on the street and take his wallet and run? No, it doesn't, because that's an incitement of a violent act that isn't the expression of an opinion. Does free speech mean that, hey, I'm allowed to sell you this drink next to me and say it's going to cure your cancer, but instead it ends up killing you? No, that's commercial fraud. Free speech doesn't protect those utterances of words. Does it protect against the proverbial example of yelling fire in a crowded theater, to borrow from old Supreme Court jurisprudence? No, it does not. But here's what it does protect. If you want the punchline on understanding how the First Amendment works, here's how it works. It protects the expression of all opinions. That's what the First Amendment was designed to protect. The expression of an opinion. Does that mean just the opinions we agree with? No. Does it mean just the opinions we disagree with? No, but that are decently expressed? No. It includes the most heinous opinions of all. It includes the right of Nazis to march in a predominantly Jewish town in Skokie, Illinois. That's what our Supreme Court has said. It includes the right to go out and burn the flag of the United States of America and chant, "Death to America." That's what free speech includes. That's what it means to actually stand for the First Amendment. We are the nation on earth that uniquely allows you to do that. And so if you can go out and chant "Death to America" and burn the American flag, that's heinous. It's heinous to go out and burn the flag of another country, be it Israel or Canada or any other country, and say "Death to Canada, death to Israel, death to America." Whatever it is, we're the country that allows you to say it. That's what the First Amendment protects, the expression of an opinion, no matter how heinous. That's the distinction we need to draw. That's not inciting violence. That's the expression of a heinous opinion. Now, the real threat to free speech today doesn't necessarily just come from the government banning speech. It comes through the back door. Government controlling or ordering tech companies to do through the back door what government couldn't do through the front door under the Constitution. What are they doing right now? They're telling big tech companies, we'll threaten you with breakups or with regulation unless you take down speech that certain actors in the government disapprove of. That's the use of a stick. They use Section 230C2, a federal wrapper of immunity that says that even if they're violating state laws that would prohibit political discrimination on the internet, those tech companies still can't be sued under those laws if they're actually cloaked with this federal blanket of immunity, Section 230C2. Well, we have to acknowledge then that if it's state action in disguise, then the Constitution still applies. The government can't use a private company to do through the back door what the government couldn't accomplish through the front door. That's already law in this country. There's a case called Bantam Books, where what happened was there was a bookstore owner that wanted to sell a book, and a local prosecutor didn't like it. He said, stop selling it. The bookstore owner said, no, thank you very much, I'm going to continue selling it. Well, then the prosecutor threatened him with prosecuting him for a separate crime. Then when a client wanted to buy something from the bookstore and couldn't buy it because the bookstore owner took it down, the client sued saying, I have a right to buy it. Went all the way to the Supreme Court. They said that, you know what? That's not the action of a private company, that's government action because it was in response to the threat of a prosecutor. That's exactly what's happening with big tech today. There was a case with the railroads. In the era of the war on drugs, part of what we saw was the government wanted to search and seize drugs on the persons of passengers, but there's this pesky thing called the Fourth Amendment that got in the way. Well, you know what? What the government tried to do was to pass an immunity statute saying that the railroads would not be liable if the railroads did it. Went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court again said not so fast. That's a constitutional violation where the government passes a form of immunity for a private company, the railroads, that allow them to do what the government couldn't do directly. That's exactly what they're doing with Section 230C2 in the case of the First Amendment. And now you have threats to the free speech principles that we espouse in this country coming both from the left and from the right. You have presidential candidates like Nikki Haley who have said that, you know what, you have to have government-issued ID tied to your social media profile to be an internet user or a social media user in this country. That too is wrong. So I don't care whether it's coming from black or white, man or woman, left or right. I'm a free speech absolutist. That's what the First Amendment of this country was written to protect. We're a country where the government does not get to directly or indirectly suppress the expression of any opinion, even the ones that I disagree with. Give me liberty or give me death. That's what Patrick Henry said. Well, that's what we need to actually stand for in the United States of America again. The First Amendment comes first for a reason. It's the one amendment that ultimately set this country into motion. We aren't a country where the government gets to decide which opinions gets expressed or not. And that's what I believe we in the Republican Party, and more importantly, in this pro-American movement, need to be fighting for.